Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I'm speaking with, now I'm going to mispronounce it, but he's going to correct me because my Chinese is not so great.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Wei Li, but go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself and gosh, how you pronounce your name.
Thank you so much. You've really tried your best, and you have done
I
a great
tried
job.
my darn best.
For someone who just get to know the name, Hui. Yeah. So in Chinese, it means glory. It means it's light casted from the sky. Yeah. So that's Hui. So yeah, I am an entrepreneur. Um, uh, in AI sector. You know, in these days that AI is everywhere. I'm just one of them in Silicon Valley trying to pursue the dream or the possibility, the impact of possibilities of my career here in San Francisco. Yeah.
AI is everywhere. I am right now I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading I read sci-fi or epic fantasy, either one. I go back and forth. So right now
Yeah.
I'm reading Adrian Tchaikovsky, The Dogs of War. It's a three-part trilogy, and
Yeah.
it is about AI. It's
Yeah.
about a bear,
Dog bear.
a chameleon, and
Mm-hmm.
and bees.
Oh, bees
Bees.
with AI.
AI, and they're all
Oh.
AI, and they're all AI. And they get in trouble in the beginning. I'm not going to ruin the story, but they get in trouble in the beginning. So the beginning of the book lands them in jail. In
Oh,
jail and in court,
okay.
and
In
they're
court.
determined to be conscious
Oh.
humans. Well, conscious and with rights. So they're not property; they are living creatures.
Oh.
And the
Living.
book goes on from there.
I see.
The dog's name is Rex. The bear's
Right.
name is Honey.
Oh.
What is the chameleon is dragon,
Uh-huh.
and bees just calls itself bees, and it's
Oh.
all the bees. So it's not just one. Very interesting,
Yeah.
obviously. And the very point is
Mm-hmm.
that why did I bring this up? The very point is because AI is here.
Yes.
If we don't apply it, I can only tell. I don't know. Maybe you want to be a plumber. That's all I could say. And there's nothing wrong with being a plumber. I'm only saying
Yeah.
you want to apply it in business because it's not going away in business. And all business. It's it will be part of all of manufacturing. It will be part of the products. It will be part of every facet of business we can imagine.
Yes.
And it's very scary. So, in that, what you mentioned to me, I'm going to ask you, what is the bullfrog analogy?
Oh, yeah, that was a very interesting analogy I heard about in my college time. Scientists have done some of the test experiments that if you put a frog in cold water and instead of put them into the hot water, once you put them in the hot water, they would jump out of the pool to protect themselves from, being boiled to death. But if you raise the temperature of the cold water gradually, they will not be able to sense that raise of temperature. And in the end, they died because it's too late for them to move because the temperature would jeopardize the functionality of the body gradually before they realize that. So this is analogy is more about change happens around you, sometimes unconsciously going on. Before you can, realize that, you may get ditched, you may get discarded from the mainstream, the
Or
society.
boil in water.
Yeah, the boiling water. Yeah, so that's the analogy I learned about. Yeah, when I was in college. Then, what I exactly experienced in the past 6 years was that I had an okay salary. I was the COO of a company worth of like 1 billion valuation. I got family, I got cars in the big cities. I thought that life was all good. But gradually I lost my motivation about my job. I was like doing everything repetitively every day. And I thought, okay, that's it. That's what life could actually give me. So basically I was like, gradually cannot like do not have that compassion like I want to go to work. It's more like, okay, if I can skip today, I will skip today. Yeah, so it's something like that.
Yeah, no, and not only that, I mean, you're basically mentioning every day becoming the same, and then at some point it's back to that frog. Every day it's the same thing, and then suddenly one day everything changes. And
Yes,
we need to in business we need to be adaptive. I don't care what year it is. We need to be adaptive. We need to
yes.
be able to pick up new skills. I began working. I'm going to date myself. I began working. It was 1978.
Oh,
Okay.
78. Wow.
1978. So,
70.
we're talking about typewriters, right?
Yeah.
I had a few jobs. And then, Joy, do you know how to use this big, big, big machine? I'm like,
Uh-huh.
what is that? Oh, it's a word processor. I'm like, no. And it scared me, right?
Yes.
Within 3 years, that big word processor became one of the first Apple Apple and IBM computers
Yes, yes. On your desktop, right?
on rolling around on a cart.
Yeah.
And I began using it. The word processor was the Wang word processor.
Hmm.
It was big, very big. Didn't roll. It was big.
Big.
Very, very
How
big.
big? Very big.
Very big. No, it was,
Oh,
it was very big. It sat on your desk and it was, it was plugged into the wall. It's plugged into the outlet. It was, it was big, very big.
I I
And,
see.
you needed drives, huge, not those little discs, those huge discs.
Oh,
Just, yes. So, I mean, that was the beginning of the wave of the future. And
yes.
a program called Lotus 123
Hmm. Low.
introduced word spreadsheet programming, processing, and then um, obviously Excel came along,
Uh-huh.
Microsoft came along, and we went from Apples to Windows, and I mean, and it never stops, and it keeps going, and then and now it's AI. So,
Yeah.
in many cases, um, for anyone today, you just can't stop. You cannot stop.
Yeah. In one way or another, it would just penetrate into your life. You cannot stop it. Like, so, in the beginning, someone of us will say, "Hey, I would never use AI because it cannot compete with people yet." But gradually, because it is evolving, and you can see it coming, penetrating into every perspective into your life. So to embrace it, that's the sort of the signal in my head after the initial fear when I encountered AI, because AI is actually taking up some of the market share of all my previous companies. So say, hey, my customers would just in the back end of the customer service platform, they would say, hey, why you guys are still not applying AI? Because since we have a very large number of user in our software, once we change one feature, then there will be big impact. Some people would complain, some people would, be happy about it. So we're still evaluating that. But then a lot of our new software competitors, they rise up so quickly. They have exponential growth. So this is then the time the investors say, "Hey, you guys are either embrace the future or you just simply get you know discarded." So yeah, so that's the time I
Lost in the
realized that
past.
yeah, that you're gonna be in the dust. So that's why I do realize that sometimes if you just wanna um to have sort of a strike a balance between the future and now, it might be that hesitation may actually limit you. So sometimes it is the limit of your mind, that cannot set your potential free. So this is the time I realized that if I want to build something that can actually ride the waves of AI instead of being just pushed. AI say, "Hey, do this," and I do that. So we decided just to build something originally completely AI native. So probably that would actually unleash the potential of myself, like a mid-aged man looking at the life. You could either see it as a mid-life crisis that you cannot make any impact anymore. That's life, or you could see that as an opportunity that you can disrupt more, not just only about your career, but also the new possibilities of life. So I always, because I traveled a lot in my early 20s to like US, the UK, Singapore, like Mid East. So right now, when I have a family, I got a stable job. I decided if I start like building something AI native, then I can become the kind of global citizen again, like I was like early 20s. That was more like lighted up my life when I decided that I want to embrace AI in a way that could fit my not only just the career goal, but also about like a life that full of new possibilities in the mid age. Yeah, that's something really inspired me with this kind of AI wave coming to my life.
Finding the applications is difficult. But once you start, the initial thought of, oh, well, I'm going to have to apply it to me and I'll have to apply myself to it.
Yes,
And then you
yes,
have to think, well, do I stay within the same industry? Do I go into another industry? I mean,
yes,
there's, once you draw that fine line in the sand, when you step over,
yeah,
it's, there's quite a lot of potential. I know it's really scary, but there's quite a lot of potential.
yes.
How do you, I mean, how did you apply yourself and who did you end up on the other side?
Hmm. Um, you mean about yeah, applying myself in this area? Actually, I didn't just start by like trying to disrupt the whole like an industry using AI. It's more like when I want to try something new in my life, I sort of set up a side project in my previous job. At that time, um, I sort of decided to learn how to code because I want to build a product using AI. So it's about like because in Google they have this kind of theory like called 20% of your time to do anything you believe might be creative, might be different from what you do on a daily basis. So I decided to use that 20% of my daily job time to build an application similar to my previous company one, because they will be very cautious about producing anything like related to AI because that would change the old habit of the company. So there will be sort of kind of barriers, there will be warriors of risks in big company, right? Then you start doing your side job project. I just sort of wanted to prove to the management team that an AI native stuff can actually bring something that could be 100 times better than what we are building now. So I don't ask for any budget. I don't ask for any approval. I just use the time. I start using a GitHub Copilot. At that time, that was the one from the GitHub. So that application do if I speak just English with it, it can actually understand my command and help me build everything from scratch. I don't actually write a single line, but it still works, because you asking them anything, it can learn from the GitHub. GitHub is that platform with all the codings, right? On the world in the world. So basically, yeah, I learn from the code pool and just meet your requirement, and then soon I built an app because I'm a business major back to my college time, and I've been COO. I have never been a tech person. Then I built something. Then I showed to the tech team that, hey, I built this app can actually made you a music album in 10 seconds. It's all AI made. It's online. It's alive. And they were so shocked. They said, okay, so actually this is possible. Then I realized that AI is actually changing the way how we learn things, how we learn skills, how we shape our product. So basically, that's something do give me confidence if I want to build something, if I want to like be more productive in my work. It's totally possible, and also it can like help you learn things so quickly. It can sort of amplify your capabilities that you can do something you never thought you could be able to do that. So yeah, so that's the beginning of like me jumping to the area like AI application stuff.
I I think about going back to school. Imagine if we were students
Yes.
in elementary school and we
Yeah.
have to write a project. Right? So what we used to do if we had to read a book and we didn't want to read the book, we would
Yes.
read the crib notes, like the
Yeah.
short version of the book. And we would try to pass the test with that. And some of us
Yes.
would. Or we'd write a report and the teacher would know, right? That, you only read the crib notes. So that's, very similar what's going to happen with AI. However, that does not mean that a student cannot learn with AI.
Yes.
If I was a student, for example, and I was having to write a report on, I don't know, let's the French Napoleon Wars, whatever.
Napoleon War.
I
Yeah.
would sit down and I would say, perhaps I would ask a question like, what was the most, what was his failure? What was his success? Something about, right? And I
Yes.
would start to have a conversation with AI.
Yeah.
And if I was applying myself, again, it's that word, applying myself, because what everyone doesn't seem to realize is that at the end, you can benefit if you apply yourself. If you just use it, then you're just using it. And you'll have done your work, but you won't have applied yourself, and you won't be able to do the next job better, faster, whatever. So the
Yeah.
basic point is, the teachers for everyone who screams, "Oh, our kids are going to be stupider. They're not going to do their projects. They're going to go to AI." And I think to myself, well, if the teachers teach the students how
Mhm.
to how to apply themselves to AI, it will teach them more.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's say they can't relate to Napoleon at all.
Yeah.
So they can have a conversation with AI and say, how can I relate to Napoleon? These are the things that I do. How can I relate to Napoleon? And
Yeah.
AI will come back and will come back with something. It will come back with something.
Yes. 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 The interesting fact is that the professor or the teacher themselves are also struggling with how to put AI in the right position in their teaching or in the interaction. I don't know because I saw some of the video clips that going viral someday. Is that a professor from like an Ivy League school, and he really went mad up behind the podium, and he was like literally just smashing the laptop, say, write something out of your original thought, don't give me AI answers. Actually he totally went mad because he got all this kind of AI written essays and homework. Yeah, so that's one way we handle that's the reality here. But sometimes it is hard because when there's a flood coming your way, there's no way that you can, right? You can sort of stop it because it is so quick, it is so massive, it is so strong. So I guess a better way would be not trying to resist that kind of flood that coming to you, or you guide it, you steer it, you navigate it in a proper way. Say, if you can tell like your student to use their imagination, say just about the Laponian War you mentioned about, then you ask AI to do the role play. Say, hey, you are the protagonist. You're Napoleon, okay? You share with me your growth history, right? You tell me something about your family, your growth, a period of time, and tell me why you always want to start a war. Something like that. It's like this kind of role playing process could actually be fun, right? If you ask the student to raise the right question or an interesting question, and you get to answers, and you try to do the role play, say you mentioned about elementary school, right? So that's another way to do it, is that you, because this inevitable, the kids when they get back home, they will have their phone, they will have their parents' phone, they will have the access to the laptop. Either way, they will use it. So I think, yeah, so one way to apply that is that the student would definitely get smarter because they would save their time to do a lot of research. They don't have to to borrow 10 books from library and they read it line by line. They get the information so quickly. Then they can, if they guide it properly, they can focus more on about, developing their ability to imaginate. Also, their way to raise the right questions about that. Yeah, so that's one way I see the possibility of it.
And that's the point. It's
Yeah,
actually very vital skills.
yeah.
It's not
They're
just read page 20 to 26 and write an essay. It's
yes,
even deeper than that. So what, the impact, or I would say the opportunity here, given the right perspective, is a teacher's aid as opposed to, oh, these kids are so lazy.
yeah,
It's an actual teacher's aid, because now the kids go home and they've got a teacher online
yeah.
right there. So the teacher, if so what I'm basically saying is that if you're a teacher,
Hmm.
the opportunity here for you, instead of losing your job because the entire, the board will say, well, why do we need teachers? We'll just use AI. Instead of letting that happen, you solve a new and interesting problem by partnering up with AI.
Yeah.
And that's what business needs to understand. We all need to understand. Personally, I'm waiting for a robot because I want my robot in the kitchen to help me out.
Yes.
And now I've got a friend and we could talk about books that I'm reading and things of that nature. But, in business, when you have a problem now,
Hmm.
you can actually go to AI and say, I was just given this project. Here's the scope. I've got a deadline. Here's some data. I don't know where to go with this. Guess what happens?
Yeah.
Guess what happens? And so so here you are. You're a business. You come out of school. You're a business.
Yes.
You're realizing that you're going to work, and it's becoming the same. The same dance every day.
Yes.
What did you do? Like, did you
Hmm.
quit? Did you walk
Yeah.
out?
Yeah. So at that time, I do realize that AI is about to disrupt a lot of industries. It start from coding. So in 2025, then we see a lot of big names, Cursor, Windsurf. That that AI vibe coding company was a pretty new one, and it was acquired by uh, OpenAI by $300 million. That's a very new company, small team, very steep price. Um, then you will realize that in this kind of industry that used to require a lot of prerequisite skills like coding, right? Then the barrier is much lowered. That even if you don't actually write a line, then you can still like develop your own software. When I realized that uh, coding is just one of the industry that's going to be disrupted by AI gradually. It doesn't just arrive at role by one day. It's more like gradually before you can realize that, because it is actually evolving every day when we fit them with AI, with more data, with more interaction, more training, right? So that's a future that people are debating about, is that when the AGI or a very smart AI that can do everything, when would it's just about the time. It's not about whether it's going to come or not. So understanding about that certainty in future, then I look at it in my own territory. Like I have been doing marketing and sales for like the last 15 years. Then from what aspect I was thinking, then AI can cut into the market and make a big difference here. So if you want to like to truly make an impact or to see new possibilities in your career, then there should be like some of the paradigm shift. You go with that paradigm shift. It's more like you ride the waves, right? It's not like if you go against the waves, you're gonna get smashed, right? But if you go with the tide, especially the area you are so familiar with, you play with the AI and you use them, and you see, even though it is immature now, but still you can see its potential because it doesn't sleep. We used to do sort of A/B testing, trying to figure out like which advertisement brings more attention, right? We used to have to design like the two versions copies of the kind of advertisement ourselves, all the color, the layout, the texts, right? And how many people should we show them? So all this kind of strategy are developed by people, and we can only like do one or two tests every day because it costs time. We need discussion about which version we apply them. But right now, AI runs 24/7. They don't sleep. If you give them the past 20 A/B testing strategy, they learn from it, they summarize, and they do it every day, and they evolve themselves. They don't have to rest, they don't eat, they don't drink. And yeah, so this you could see like some of the traits are like totally different from human power. So basically, that's something when you look at a kid, they're not perfect, but you can see the potential, right? They learn so fast and they have something we as a human don't have. Then we sort of help them to build a basic skills, like we teach them what would be the right rules and procedures in the industry. We prompt, or say we weaved some of our experiences to tell them how a human being would like us to interact with AI. So this is how we sort of build a easily adopted user interface with the AI. Then we can sort of amplify its traits in a way that can disrupt the whole industry, because then you have a strategist who can tell you in the past like 10 days which advertisement runs best, and it evolves continuously and tell you a result that you don't need to hire anyone. And even though those who people, even those people who can actually make strategies for your marketing campaign usually will cost you very steep price, and they're much lower priced. So this is the time when you do accept that they are not mature enough, but they have the potential, that once you teach them about what you know, then it can achieve uh, the results that you usually be able to deliver in like 100 times faster, and just 1% of the cost that you used to have to invest in the whole like work. Yeah, so that's the potential I see. And then I decided that I want to quit the job because there are so many hindering conditions. There are so many risks. Once you have something, right, built enormously, and you have to combat with kind of politics, you have to combat with kind of risks, you have to combat with those controversies. And then I decided to start my own company, the AI-driven marketing agent, just from scratch. This is the time I went back to the San Francisco Bay Area. I had my initial funding with those investors who also believe in the future that even in marketing, there will still be technology gradually be able to do or be able to empower a marketer or salesperson to be able to do 100 times more in the same time framework. Yeah, so that's how I felt, or how I transitioned to this kind of new role as the CEO of this new startup.
So we can have you can have AI automate, right? You can have AI take the job. So chat, for example,
Yeah.
it will take the job, and it will just take your chat session. Or you can have it automate processes so that you say, here are the procedures for this, here's the data,
Yes.
roll it out, and
Yes.
it will roll it out. So those are immediately two things that it could do. So it could do the whole job, or it could facilitate you in report writing, or process driven
Yeah.
things. Obviously, at some point it's going to go robotic, so it will actually be tactile. But right now we're
Yeah.
just thinking, it's in your computer somewhere. It has no hands. So,
Yes.
what other things in your mind have you considered? Because you've said that you're building this this business from the ground up with
Yes.
AI. What without giving away your business, what without telling everybody what you do, and so they can go off and do it, what are you considering, and how are you applying? Again, it's this word, application. How are you applying AI, or how are you taking the tasks and implementing AI as a tool?
Yes. So let's imagine a situation like, when somebody step into, like, if you have a on-site shop, right? You are selling the cookies you made from your home, right? And there will be some of the customer, you want them to repeatedly buy your cookie because your cookie is yummy, it's homemade, it's healthy, right? And you, in the past, you have to not only make all those cookies, you have to get up very early in the morning, you made all the you baked all the cookie, and you transport it to the site, and you also need to be the one who welcome the customer, right? And sometimes when you have more inventory than today you can sell, then you want to, some other people, like, they may want to, like, to buy from you, can deliver it to them, right? So it's more like you got, for a small, like, business owner, you got so many roles to play. You have to produce it, right? You have to transport it, you have to be the salesperson, you have to be the customer service person. So right now we want to build a digital stuff that can relieve you from doing sales and marketing and customer service work. So that's how we apply it, because we're so busy, because we want to make this. Some people that they are, like, so creative that in making cookies, that they can make different flavors of cookies. They want to invest most of the time in the cookie. Then the AI would take over and sending all the welcome messages once you log into the website. They say, hey, this is Jennifer. I'm the owner of this cookie shop. And the reason why I built this cookie is that my family reunion, each time when they have a cookie, we have a lot of laughter. We have a lot of happy time. We want to bring this kind of happiness into your family, and right. So it's kind of the AI could actually do this kind of things like 100 times, 1,000 times every day. But if it's a you don't explain that like each time when someone visits your website, right? So this is something the repetitive tasks. If you can teach AI, you share with them uh, once, say why me, Jennifer, want to build this cookie shop called a family cookie, right? And then it can help you like, every time when someone hop into your website, they send email automatically to your email boxes once you say you want to hear more about the cookie. Or they give you a coupon for, we give you the first 2 cookie for free if you give me the email. So we get your concern, right? So it's more like you have the salesperson, you have the digital salesperson, you have a digital uh, customer service person who can explain the history and the different choices of a cookie to a customer. So it's about relieving people from repetitive tasks, let you focus on the part that contain the most creative work in your job or you enjoy most. So yeah, so this is basically the idea. We built that kind of life cycle management AI that can serve as your AI digital stuff, helping you with sales and marketing jobs.
It
Yeah,
sounds like it's not necessarily small business, but it is um, definitely direct to consumer.
yes,
And here's where you're helping entrepreneurs um, launch and manage a website and the marketing, something that they don't have. They don't have the time. They don't have, I mean, obviously, if you're a small business owner, and generally speaking, you're the CEO, the CFO, the CMO. Maybe you have a few other people around you, but
yes,
in the very beginning, you're just trying to get your product out. So having some sort of a tool like that, and this is the point. This is how you take AI. If you're a business owner and
yes,
you're manufacturing, servicing solutions for other people, you have
yes,
to think through the problem, and then you've got a brand new tool. You've got AI. You've got a
yeah,
brand, and not only is this a brand new tool, but it does everything and then some. Things that you don't even know it does until you ask.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you have no idea what it does. It can go to the moon. You don't
yeah,
know how it gets there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't know how it's going to get there. But between you and me, it can figure it out. It will just do that.
yeah,
So, they're just, this is not a time to panic. This really isn't a time to panic. I mean, I know all the um, old processes are going to become legacy. They are. But the point is, if you have any amount of creativity, and if you are looking to get excited again,
yeah,
because every day is like, I don't know, we're going to figure it out. Um, you know, I started working with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And one of the problems when you're an email marketer is that every
yeah,
single platform is different,
yeah,
right? So you've got to learn wherever they hide the stuff. Do they do this? Do they do that? How do they do this? One of the things, for example, you send out an email
hmm,
and you've got a link. And after the email goes out, you realize, oh, it was the wrong link. Oh
oh
no.
yeah,
Oops. I'll have to send out the email again. Well, I know, because I deal with so many different email service providers,
yeah,
that there's a good possibility you could fix that link after the email goes out.
yeah,
Where does that live? That's the problem. So here you
yeah,
are, you're in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. I don't know where it is. I could spend 2 hours looking for it, looking through the documentation. Or I could go to AI and say, I need to change a link in my email. It has already been deployed. My service provider is Salesforce Marketing Cloud. How can I solve the problem?
Yeah.
Bam! Comes back with the answer. You just apply it. And this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. It's not taking your job as an email marketer.
Yeah. Sure.
It's solving
Sure.
problems faster. And that essentially, what does that mean? That means the old adage was, do you have 5 years in Salesforce marketing? No. Oh, I'm sorry. Next prospect, because they
Jumping
want
to.
somebody who's got 5 years on the platform. I don't need
Yeah.
5 years on the platform. All I need is AI. I'll ask AI and it'll tell me how to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm an email marketer. I know my job. I'll do it. And
I
these
get.
are the things. It makes you brighter, not duller.
Yeah.
Helps you solve problems quicker, not slower. You just need to be able to go with the flow. Like you said, ride that wave. Don't hit it head on. Don't hit it head on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah, it'll give you a headache if you hit it head on. So,
yeah. Well said. Mm.
here you are. You're trying to make this change in your life. What were your gains and what were your losses?
Gains and losses. Yeah. That's a good question. I haven't yet, sit down and do this kind of calculation very carefully, but so far I do felt the energy in my life. This is more like you're doing what you always believe, or you're actually becoming the kind of person you always wanted to become. So that would actually gives every morning wake up that kind of momentum that you want to wake up to work. You want to wake up. Maybe it's not to work. You want to wake up to continue doing that something so intriguing for you. So the good part is that AI gives you the opportunity that you can explore something that's not settled. Sometimes the brain will get so boring if you are doing something repetitively. You know how to do that, and also it may not bring new possibilities into your life. So this is kind of the gains would be like it's kind of energy in your life. You have the sort of hope that you can always be able to see something interesting, uncertain, intriguing, right? Can challenge your mind and also your curiosity. Yeah, so that's the gain here uh, as the starter. And second is that I would meet a lot of interesting people globally because when I explore the market in that marketing tech, they can helping marketers improve their work efficiency. Then I will look at the market in like this developed area all over the world, like the the North America, the European countries, Singapore, Japan. I speak with them. I go to the country. I started like interviewing them with their pens in their work. Then I understand about their own pain points in their work. I meet those kind of people. I talk with them. I code with them. Sort of we work together. That do also bring me the new possibilities of life. And say, hey, wow. So people in different places they do marketing in a different way. They have a different lifestyle, and that was so interesting. It was like I become the global citizen again. Yeah. So that's basically uh, when you hop on the journey, then journey itself become the reward. So I think that's the most rewarding part about like jumping into this kind of wave that AI has helped me to um, reboost or help me to restart. So the losses it will be like I may not be able to spend that much time with my families, my parents, just because I used to be like if we're in the same city, like we get to see each other much often than now that I have been traveling a lot. And you know, so basically it's still about the balance, and also it's about like mutual understanding. So prior to me making the decision that I want to come to the United States, the San Francisco Bay Area, I had a very long conversation with my family members, like my parents, like why at this age of my life, uh, I still want to have this. So yeah, so this kind of conversation would be uh, crucial in to build the trust. But of course, sometimes that you will still encounter this kind of situation. You will not be able to take care of the family because last year when my father had a stroke, that he don't want let me know. And so luckily that I got cousins, and I got yeah, those relatives in town, and they sent him to the hospital. And when I know about that, I flew directly back to hometown and get to meet him. But he was still wanted me to do like what I wanted to do. So yeah, this is more like about family supporting each other. But still, sometimes this is the price, or this is something that you need to strike a balance. Yeah, so that's
Yeah. When you're driven, it's hard. It's very difficult when you're driven.
yes,
Um,
of course.
even I, when I worked at home, I would
Yeah,
be excited about a project, and I wouldn't. This is part of the problem of working from home, remote working, is that
yeah,
if you are the type of person that enjoys their work, you don't want to put it down. You want to finish it,
yes.
and it's like people want to eat dinner. People need to do homework, and you're like, I'll be out in a minute. And you don't come out. But,
Yeah,
the other losses that I'm thinking about would be you, if you enjoy your work
yeah.
and it isn't a job that you hate in a company that you hate. I'm talking about you like work, you enjoy it. It's good.
Yeah,
It's a good thing. Maybe repetitive, but in any case, you like the company. You're okay about that. So the loss would be when you realize that many of the processes are over, done.
oh yeah.
They're done. That your department is done. For example,
Yeah,
conversation I heard somebody else say the other day. They said, "Why is it?" I saw this on LinkedIn. This is where I saw it. Why is it that I'm seeing a lot of jobs in marketing expecting the marketing person to do it all? Now, I thought to myself, I've been seeing that for a while, but now with AI, it's even worse. Why did they want to do it then? Because they didn't want to hire a department,
yeah,
right? They didn't want it. They figure we'll get somebody who could do 15 things. They do maybe 5 things well, and the rest they'll learn. We
yeah.
won't have to pay a lot of people, and we'll burn them out. Who cares, right? Now it's even worse because now I may know 5 things, like I said, with this Salesforce marketing stuff. I
Yeah,
could sit down and say, yes, I know the responsibilities of the job. 5 of those are my core, my core talents. 10 are not.
yeah,
That's okay. I'm going to have a whole bunch of conversations with AI and
yeah.
learn everything. And then I'm going to be able to automate it. So
Oh,
businesses' responsibilities will change. And that's difficult. That's very difficult when you've gone to school for 4 years and you've told yourself, I'm going to be the CMO. That is my aspiration. I want to be a CMO. And then
yeah,
at some point in time, that whole thing changes. And I'm
yeah,
not saying a CMO is going to change. I'm saying the responsibilities are going to change. Will a CMO and I don't know, what do they call a CSO? I don't know. So, marketing used to assist and service sales.
Yeah.
Used to. That changed again. This is, these things just continuously happen. At some point in time, marketing no longer just assisted sales.
Yeah.
Now marketing, I don't know, sales used marketing as a sponge, basically to clean it all up. Like,
Yeah.
I've got an event. I want you to do this. It is a service, but it became this, it began to change, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
still changing. Marketing is still changing. And as you said, when you came up with this, the scenario of a tool that can help a small business owner assist them with the sales, with the marketing, with traffic, transactional. I mean,
Yeah. Basically,
basically it all.
the whole funnel. Yeah.
Now you've taken a whole department and the skills of the whole department. You've put it on the head of a pin.
Yeah.
And now you're like, okay, so I've got the head of the pin. Now you've got the rest. What else are you going to do? It's sort of like there's a whole world out there that's opening up. If you're not a creative person, it becomes boring. If you're a creative person, everything opens up.
Yeah.
Everything opens up. And what I would say is that it's up to education to make us all to think more creatively.
Yes. It is something like, also something that's inevitable is that the boundaries of those works will get blurred, right? Just also we mentioned about people start coding even though they don't have the major like of computer sciences, right? So um sometimes you will find this kind of if you see them as a loss, uh because you are actually in that kind of a mindset that this has to be that way because it was in that way for like about 30 years. But, since the change never stopped, then, the good thing about it is that if we look ahead, if we simply don't just get constrained by the mindset we used to have, then probably you're going to see the new possibilities for your career is that with the assistance of AI, uh, once you can deliver the good result, you don't have to like give yourself that kind of hat, say I'm a marketer or I'm a salesperson, right? So as long as like you can deliver higher conversion rate, you can deliver better brand impact. As long as like you can generate like more lifetime value, more revenue for the company, right? Then you can wear many hats. This is the new possibilities here, and even with less time consumption. Say if you spend like 50% of the time, we understand about the whole conversion funnel, and you can contribute like a larger revenue gain for the company, then probably you're gonna get paid better, and you have more time for your leisure time with your family. How about that? If we just embrace it and can see this possibility, yeah, I think probably it's not a bad thing if you see this kind of changing happen in your life. Sometimes when the whole department go away, that was a sad thing, because people got laid off right at that time. And when you go to sort of kind of departuring or farewell party, people are getting so sad. But when they see all this kind of threat as an opportunity to awaken to the new territories, that because when you see how the company replaced us, the previous department, with the new technology, it's an opportunity that, oh, that we can, how about we like learn from what technology actually they are using. And then probably in another company, they're also looking for those people who know how to apply this kind of technology. And if we start learn this kind of thing, probably we're gonna be the person like who can also function as the whole part department, but we like cost much less for that company. And gradually that we can sort of different people like those people like who can seize, because sometimes in Chinese the Chinese character for the word crisis actually combined with two characters. One is risk, so it's called we. Another is called opportunities, G. It's actually in every crisis there is an opportunity. So that's the idea, the philosophy, behind that kind of wording. So yeah, I think probably that's a good thing about that. So a few days ago, I saw one headlines about an article said, "Hey, with AI can facilitating all this kind of work, do we still need to work in the future? Probably AI would do everything. We can just enjoy our life, or AI can facilitate us with so many jobs, right? We don't have to work in order to support ourselves and our families, and we can have more time tackling our inner peace, doing exercises like spending time with our pets and going to more sunshine places. That's also another possibility if we get empowered by AI. This is how I see the losses here for people. It's about the perspective you see the loss.
I was just thinking in my mind, I was thinking that we are our economy and our business, our manufacturing, all of these things are based upon some amount of obsolescence. When will this what when will our when will the minerals run out? What would happen if this runs out? What happens when we don't need this anymore, right?
Yeah.
We've built the whole world on oil, for example,
Yes.
and we won't let go of it. Now,
Yeah.
AI basically says, I can change on a dime every day. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I'll change it all. Business has a problem with that. One of the reasons you mentioned that you left the business was because it was ingrained in it to do it this way, and you
Yeah.
would disrupt it too much. And
Yeah.
you'd basically be a problem and not a solution. So
Exactly.
you went back and you said, I'm going to do it from the ground up,
Yes.
which works from the ground up. At some point, 5 years later, that business is now established.
Yeah.
But the point is, with AI, everything has an opportunity
Yeah.
to continue to change, to
Exactly.
create trends, and to be at the forefront, as opposed to I'm the last one to move along with the flow. So, the way we need to think now more than ever is that in 6 months, we're going to need to review. In 9 months, we may need to change, and within a year, we may need to be different. As
Yeah.
opposed to, let's keep on cranking it out. It's okay, no problem.
Yeah.
And AI can help you do that, but it's very uncomfortable. It's
Yes.
almost like that's no way to run a business. Constant change. How can you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a interesting
It's
topic.
not. It's almost like we would say now that's not sustainable. You're going to run out of gas at some point in time, literally and figuratively.
It
But the
will.
point is that with AI, we would be able to say, you know, for example, you're making cookies again, and suddenly you can't get flour.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know, whatever, or whatever the paper that you used to line the doilies, whatever it is, you can't get it anymore.
Yeah.
You need to solve the problem. The point is that the old method of doing it would be you get on the phone and you start making phone calls to find out where you can get that stuff.
Yeah.
You could still do that. So one team's on the phone and the other team is AI going, how do I solve this problem? Can you come up with any new way of doing anything?
Yeah.
And this is the new mentality that if it's totally disruptive,
Yeah.
totally disruptive. That's difficult.
Yeah. That's difficult. So
That's
it,
very difficult.
it will be difficult to ask people to think out of the box when they are getting so used to everything in the daily life and work.
Right.
But but once you sometimes when we say seeing is believing, is that once you see some of the signals actually going on, and if you can be a little bit more open with your curiosity to see the possibilities, then you're gonna see a different future that's reshaping. A couple of days ago, when I was in Stanford University, I was talking to one of the professor who is very actively pursuing AI assisting use those Nobel Prize winner um, it's kind of a experiment facilities because that professor is actually one of the apprentices of a Nobel Prize winner in physics. So they started to using AI to help them with their academic research and ideation, even verification, right? It's kind of a thought experiment. So they can accelerate some of the experiment to verify an hypothesis, whether that's applicable or not. So say the gas problem probably going to be resolved because of they developed a way that we can generate energy in another way that we don't have to burn the oil, right? So yeah, so even though, but these things are those opportunities. If I go to Stanford, if I see this kind of seminar, and I still keep the curiosity, even though that was like actually physics are like so far away from me, like since my college time. But still, like if you do sort of see the signal and you can keep the curiosity in yourself, I think there will be more and more signals actually accumulating in your life around you. Then you will gradually find that piece of places or in the whole ecosystem, the ecosystem about the AI shaping future. Where shall you stand? What impact can you make? Can we build a better life with AI? There is possibility, right? So basically, it's about yeah, keep yourself open and receiving all the signals coming to your life, not only just about your work and your life and this theories and physics something. Yeah, then gradually, um, yeah, we'll find our new position that probably gonna bring us a better life at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. When I first heard of AI, and I heard a lot of conversations, and they were all negative, and people were freaking out. Oh, I'm a writer. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's taking my job. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what am I going to do? You're going to write better. You're going to write different.
Yes.
You're going to use AI. You're going to write 3 times as much. If you're a writer, apply yourself. It's a tool, you know. So in the very beginning, it scared me. And then, they used the term the singularity. It's going to happen we're already in the singularity. And it's like,
Yeah.
what does
Singularity.
that mean? What does that mean? That means it's basically learning exponentially and becoming conscious. What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, just thinking about that really puts me in a place to think, well, what is human consciousness? And I just keep going. So I'm saying to myself, this is not a bad thing. It's teaching me about myself, about my capabilities, you know, um, the future will always be the future. It's just getting more and more interesting as we go along.
Yeah.
But it's not, no, it's not the Terminator,
Yeah, it's not.
right?
It's
It's not the Terminator. But that's not to say that it can't be weaponized.
not. Yeah,
Okay. So
that's fair.
everything, usually I'll be very honest. And this is, I'm going to back engineer it. Everything we have now is because it was weaponized first. So, the invention of the TV dinner
Uh-huh.
and the concept of dry, dried foods, like Tang and all these odd things that we had in the 60s and the 70s, that all came out of World War II, and that we needed to make food for the Army, Navy, Marines, and they needed to be able to eat out of a kit in the middle of guerrilla warfare. So they had dried this and
Yeah,
put this little thing on a flame, and it gets warm, and you're having beef bourguignon suddenly. So
yeah,
all of these things that we do, a lot of things that we have now, the Jeep, for example, the Jeep, it was used in the war.
yeah,
So it's we what we have, much of the luxury that we have is because it was created during a war effort, and then they made it better after. Then it stagnates. So yes, the weaponization of AI is happening right now.
yeah,
But the technologies that come out of that, we will the lay person, the public person will eventually see. So it's I'm not I'm not I'm not naive. I'm
yeah.
not naive. You can't be naive. And
Sure.
you can't say, oh, it's going to be, they're going to use it for the worse. They're going to create robots that are going to kill us. I don't know. They created people that were going to kill us. So, I mean,
Yeah. So I I I there is a India uh group called Satguru, and a couple of days ago I just read one of the interview that him in a U.S. university, and so he mentioned about we actually human beings we have a talent that those most of the animals don't have, that we have memory, we have imagination. Like an ant, they don't have the memory, right? And they don't imagine like the future world. But sometimes it is more like a talent that if you are not be able to steal them well, it can also become your enemy. So if you use your imagination properly, and you can do great plan, you can sort of form a hypothesis that may bring human beings civilization into next stage, right? But also if you keep thinking about this bad possibilities in your life, then you're actually going against yourself. You're using their imagination power not as the facilitation for a better life, but you're using them to go against yourself, to worry yourself, to burden yourself. So it's still about, in the end of the day, no matter what the external technology we're talking about, still it is still about like what's inside yourself. It's like your inner peace, whether you're handling the relationship with yourself properly. Even even though that sometimes when you're like in the valley of your life, if you can suspend your judgment, do not imagine everything as good or bad or right or wrong. You feel it. You try to use your gut feeling, but you don't let your brain go against yourself. You know how to seize this kind of negative or this kind of judgmental thoughts, then we will be able to steal our brand in a much more effective way that can benefit our life. So that's how I see them. Yeah, we don't. I think we don't have to be. We don't have to deceive ourselves. Say, hey, AI is all good, right? So AI can actually bring those kind of, bad. If we quote it as bad things to people, but still, like as an individual human being, it's still about our daily life. How we gonna, uh, sort of find our inner peace and also utilize the soul resources and the functionality we are born with to build a life that we believe is going to be beneficial for us. It's still about the people, how people use all the technologies, right? So yeah, so that's how I look at it. Still about how we.
It's very important that we treasure our agency and never lose sight of the fact that it's not necessary that we have the power to go out and act, become an activist. That's not the agency I'm talking about. The agency is you have the power to change something, even if it's one person at a time.
Yeah.
So, if you're very, very against fossil fuel, you can become an activist, or you can take your entire life and strip fossil fuels out of your life and live off the grid if you like. That's your decision. You could do that.
Yeah.
You could do that.
That's your
And,
choice.
it's your choice. And I think, that's in a very extreme way of looking at it. But I think that we need to hold on to our agency and be able to choose a life that aligns with those things that we feel and value. And if everyone begins to learn how to do that, it's not that difficult. It's just as easy to yell at someone as it is to help, to help them solve the problem. It's just as easy. It's just the same amount of energy, but we don't know how to do it. It's easy just to get angry and say, you're stupid, as opposed to saying, what's the problem? Let's work through it. How do I do this? I don't know how to solve it. You know how to solve it. What are we going to do? It's
Be
just as easy to say,
curious.
you're stupid.
Yeah.
So we get angry and we say, you're stupid. And that's what we do. That's not agency. And we need to remember that we all have agency, and that in that agency, we have some amount of responsibility.
Yes.
And in that responsibility, we can change the world one person at a time. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but in the end, if we all begin to do it, it's not one person, it becomes 300,000.
Yes. That's well said.
But,
That's well said.
that's how I look at it. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your recommendation or suggestion for the AI curious person? What, let's round up everything that we've talked about and say, somebody comes to you and says, I'm in business. The game's changed. You've done it. What should I do? What's my next step? Help me out.
Yeah. According to my experiences, to allocate some of the time, say the 20 or 10% of your time in your daily life or work, explore the tools that you can have so far. Say, if you're a marketing person, if you're a writer, you could just search on the App Store. You search on Google. Even now, that a lot of people are using Perplexity instead of Google. They say that's the AI search engine, right? So once you start tweaking with this kind of tool, then you will realize that so many people, I imagine a different future than we have previously like neglected the possibility, right? So start using tool, and that will be great for sort of the initial exposure to the possibilities of AI that can reshape in the future of your life or work. Second, if you have a bunch of good friends who are also interested in AI, you get into the community. Sometimes you could see they are launching projects. Be part of the community and project that could actually that can actually help you more, because we are an animal. Like, we love uh, a sense of belonging to community, right? Once we have the community, other people, when they have the kind of momentum, when they have the kind of passion, they sort of sometimes they ignited our passion too, to build something that could substantially be useful for work or life. Say, if you are a writer and you join a writer community, and someone say, hey, why not we just build something for our writers to write in the future, to facilitate our writing? Say, if we want to do some of the information check during the writing, we can sort of pull that kind of AI to ask them for information. They can help us check in the library, right? So basically, sometimes you just, when you are working with people in a real project, that sort of kind of bring you into this kind of tide and waves that you benefited from the whole like momentum, right? So yeah, so that's the second thing I think could benefit us. Join a community, starting or just joining some of the project and do something real. They can using AI to help people. And last but not least is that you could actually try to um, do research on the how AI is actually, just we could keep open to the news, because when you sometimes somebody would say your reading would actually shape your mind, right? So when you subscribe to this content, especially those people that you believe are uh, have like share similar value system with you, because some people would be very negative, some people would be too optimistic about AI, right? So you do search, you find those people who are actually building with AI, who are actually researching with AI, who are actually commenting, like they also read a lot. So they will open a window because they push the notification to push their writings to you every day. So if you synchronize with them about how they see the world. So with the information, with the project, with your own hands-on on AI, gradually we will find like AI more like penetrating or blending our life as an infrastructure, or something we can utilize in a very, very specific way, how it can improve our lives. Yeah, so that would be the three perspectives that I want to share with how AI actually reshaping my own life. And yeah.
Great, great. Well, you've been really, this is a great conversation. I could go on forever.
Thank you so much.
How can people what's the best way? If people want to find you on the web, where can they find you? What's the
Yeah,
best way to get to you?
they can find me on LinkedIn. So the
I will
link,
put the link down there.
yeah.
That's great. I wish you a lot of luck with your businesses and your family and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Thank you so much for your time, and had a great conversation on time.
Great. Thanks. And that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's all right.